Okay, I didn't make it outside today. I'm always on the toilet, right? So I did some dishes, working, I'm talking, I'm doing a video, a little bit of laundry, and I decided to work on this little tomato, I guess you could say, grow room. I brought that in here, you can see, with its own little light. We'll have the one light hanging, depending on what's going on in here. Might add more. As you can see, I taped everything up for the most part. Now, you know, I'm dealing with all this crap that got flushed out of the basement, right? And, yeah, it's just more work. It's just extra. As if I got any place for it upstairs. But, you know, I'm going to show you some other books. Now, mind you, I did tell him he could pack them up, but there's other things that shouldn't have been outside. But besides that point, whatever. I don't know about my life, people. You know, only one person came and knocked on my door and asked me if I was selling that stuff out there. I said, yeah, go ahead. Right? Went out, found her. I said, did you get something you wanted? And she goes, yeah. I said, well, what is it? She goes, it's a book. She said, well, I have to go to the bank. I don't keep money on me. And I said, oh, she took like 2 or 3 books. I said, well, at least you're a book lover. But other than that, I don't know, people. I don't know what is wrong with the world. Go away from me. I'm so depressed today. I'm depressed because my religious immigrant neighbors who are so much better than the Canadian-born people for whatever reason. Unless, of course, maybe they're the right color. They're stealing my wood, okay? I'm pretty sure it's them. Because they like to entertain. And their landlord won't let them do the things like I said. My landlord has let me do over the 12 years. But what I did, people, I did out of necessity. Okay. Anyway. It's just, the world is such an unfriendly place. And you get it from all kinds of directions. You know? So I've been like thinking about my grandma, right? And I've been off and on throughout the years, people. And her advice was, stick to yourself. Just mind your own, you know, and have very few friends. And keep to yourself, you know, don't invite trouble into your house, that kind of thing, right? You know, do for yourself, and just don't depend on anybody, really, and just have 1 or 2 friends, because otherwise, she said, it would just be trouble. But I made the mistake of founding a non-profit, people, which I felt obligated to be in the public eye. Whether it was park events, outside of the business with the DJ equipment, whether it was a gateway place when I lived there and going out into the courtyard, whether it was going up to by the shelter when Sierra was alive and doing all the things that I was doing out there and recording and just whatever, right? And even now, yeah, it didn't get me anywhere, people. The world is too corrupt. Way, way, way too corrupt. And it's getting worse because I don't want to pick on immigrants, people, but the more that move into Canada, maybe it was different back in the day with the older generation migrating to Canada. You know, I mean, yeah, they faced racism, but they also got subsidies from the government to help them buy houses, and, you know, and they've come a long way, but now these immigrants that come here, people, it's like they bring death. I'm sorry, but they bring death. They bring death. They don't, not death for them, and they're kind. They're kind. Whatever their kind is. In other words, Muslims stick together with Muslims. Hindus stick together with Hindus. Punjabis stick together with Punjabis. Chinese stick together with Chinese. And now we've got the Ukrainians, the Caucasians, coming in, sticking together with the Ukrainians. And just so on and so on. The Jamaicans sticking with the Jamaicans. The Fijians sticking with the Fijians. The freaking... just whatever, right? You get my point. And, you know, I don't think there's a single person, I wanted to say soul, but I do believe some of these individuals are completely soulless. I do. But I don't think there's even one person from that whole gene pool of what I just spouted that has any desire to see a Canadian, especially one like me, succeed. No. No. I just don't see it, people. So not only does my government not want me to succeed, want to keep me under that manufactured poverty, ignore criminal activity that causes death, long-term permanent injury, and psychological damage to the whole family through the targeting of a family through mainly the public union sector through its various agencies or ministries or departments. And now I'm dealing with the immigrants. You know, it's like, let me kill you in a nice way, right? In terms of, I don't know, people, they're racist. They're coming in racist. They're coming in for one mission only, and that is to better themselves and nobody else, to bring in more of their kind, and to take what they can get by any means necessary. And they don't care who they injure, especially if we don't match their criteria when it comes to genetics. You know, like my landlady. You know, I told her, I said, well, you know, after now I'm going to start maybe thinking to sell some stuff over the winter online. But it's hard. She goes, yeah, do that. You should be starting now. As soon as she said that to me, people, you should be starting now, just tells me that she wants me to get the fuck out of this fucking house so that she can easily sell it that much faster, if not rent it up for more money after she takes down the sign and keeps the house. Okay? Like, you know what I mean? And I haven't done anything wrong. I gave up my life for this bloody place, people, and I'm still out there, and I'm paying, and I'm being ripped off as I'm allowing my shit to be pillaged out in the road, trying to justify it as being charity, as I'm being robbed now, right? Because I'm asking for fucking help. Oh, my landlady is saying, no, don't wait till winter to start selling us stuff on the inside. Put it on freaking line now. You should be doing it now. Why don't you get Tisha to help you? I said, I've been asking Tisha to help me, but she doesn't want to help me. Why? She says. I said, because, you know, we're fighting. Oh, you guys are always fighting. Why are you always fighting? Well, I don't know, Mrs. Gill. Have you ever stopped to think about what maybe your people do to people like my family? There's a big, long fucking list of it. And even when I come to you and I tell you, you want to sit up there and ignore it and act like it doesn't exist when you damn well know it does. You know? That's just one example of a long line of examples. I can't even live in this fucking house without my neighbor property owners, you know, just whatever. You think I'm going to get a thank you from that property over there, the one that likes to kill the trees, for fixing the freaking fence? Hell no. He'll never be satisfied because he's miserable. All he wants is money. And he'll use what he can use to get it. Okay? It's just stupid, people. So I don't feel like there's no future. I don't know what kind of future these people are building for themselves, because after my kind run out, they're going to just eat themselves. Literally. Right now they're going after the old Caucasians that own all these houses out here. Interesting how they're all being locked up in these temporary care wards, being told that they have to be sold, sell their house, right? They have to pay for the care that they're in right now, even though it's temporary. And then they're going to be placed into long-term care because some immigrant worker that looks like a Punjabi, that is more likely a Punjabi, but grew up in freaking England, said so. Or someone like Eleanor Gilding that does the bidding for the government. Okay? Because that's why the government isn't coming forward on this, people. Because they don't want to expose their workers. Whether they're immigrant workers that does the government's bidding, or whether it's the public union sector worker that's been in the system for 40 freaking years and is well molded to their job description, which is to just destroy lives. People come here to work to destroy lives, thinking that they're going to get ahead and that the federal government might let them stay. And then they convince themselves that they're not the racist one that I am because of my skin color. Okay? Yeah, okay. Like, what does my landlady expect from me, man? It's like, it's like, you want me to sell everything as much as I possibly can to make it easy for you at 82 years old to get fucking richer so that you can leave it to your grandkids, as you basically force my grandkids into homelessness or foster care because you basically imploded my house. Basically. Because of business. And then when I do a video on it, and every now and then they watch my videos. Somebody in their family watches my videos. They don't like what I have to say, so they send in the hounds, the pit bull, right, to basically attack me, right, and scare the pants off me, and accuse me of elderly abuse. Yeah, okay. Yeah. No. My family is the victim. Okay? It's the immigrants next door that pray to some little, I don't know what it is that they put outside because they're so holy. Right? But yet are sneaking in, stealing my wood. Well, why do you think that fence wasn't fixed for as long as it's been up there like that? Okay, because I know that owner. He likes to keep his fence nice and tight. But that thing's been sitting like that for a freaking year. I'm surprised that he never fixed it. But I fixed it because I'm trying to keep the firewood thief out. At least from that way. Not to say they're not going to come up this way or go in that way. And these are godly immigrants that work because I'm lazy, because I'm white, and I look after kids. That's how they see me, which is basically white trash. And because now one of my grandkids is severely injured, they see the whole situation as defective, but they will not acknowledge that it was a Punjabi that did that to my grandson. But it started even before my grandson was born, because Shamay was in labor for 5 days, was sent away home for 2 days. They were hoping, like I said, that she would take that freaking morphine so that they could accuse her of doing drugs, when they finally decided to do the right thing and deliver my grandson, to which they couldn't even do that. But they're godly. They're so religious. They have so much morals. They're hard workers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, people. Okay, people. So the more immigrants, what I'm trying to say is, the more these immigrants come in to BC and Canada as a whole, with the attitudes that they have right now, the more families like mine are going to be in jeopardy in terms of annihilated, snuffed out, genocide out. Because the only thing that they want is money, by any means necessary. Oh, sure, they'll pick a few things up off the road and take it home. But at the end of the day, they want your house. They want to injure your kids so that they can do their little backroom deals with the other doctor over there. Okay? They want their donors for their already bought and paid for and just waiting recipients in terms of organs and that kind of thing. For the ones that are really involved in that type of criminal activity. Or they want the houses. Funny, like I said, I'm going to end it on this note, and then I'm going to come back and show you what I'm doing here as I go about my day. But, you know, it's funny how the old people, when I was visiting Uncle John, telling us, me and the kids, that they weren't allowed to leave, that those workers, mainly those immigrant workers, told them that they were too old and they couldn't live on their own anymore, and they were obligated to sell their houses. They were obligated to pay for that temporary care until such time the house was sold, because once the house was sold, then there was guaranteed cash to move them into a long-term care facility to which they were at the mercy of immigrant workers. And we know what happened to a lot of them in the last couple of years. They're all dead now. Okay? But why aren't those old folks that own all these houses, all this property, to $1.5 million property that's nothing more than a little bungalow, why aren't they allowed to go off and buy what's over here that was just built for 55 and over? They can definitely afford it, don't you think? But no, that building sits empty for over a freaking year, people. But it's for old people. Yeah, okay. I don't know how I can explain it to you where you can actually realize what the heck is going on in your community if you are the victim to this. Oh, the Syrian family. Oh, we're from Syria and it's war and we're victims to that war. But when we get here, don't ask us to work, because the government told us not to. Don't ask us to be friendly, because we're not here to be friendly. Because from what we heard when we were back home in Syria, all white people are racist. But not us. No, we're not. We're just like this because we're Muslim. And because we're Muslim, somehow that makes us so much better than our freaking neighbors. Okay, this is the attitude that goes from house to house to house to house, basically. And that's why when you go to Bear Creek Park to do a little birthday celebration, everybody's in their freaking pod, keeping to themselves, plotting and scheming how they can destroy the next pod beside them. In terms of a little party over here, little party over there, little party over here. Nobody's interchanging, nobody's mingling, because that's not the mission, people. The mission is by any means necessary, get what you can. Well, the good is good in Canada, because now they're in Canada, right? And, you know, they're obligated to feel entitled, because they're all fucking victims from wherever they freaking come from. Or they all think that they're better than everybody else because their religious book tells them that. Or their guru, or whatever it is that they listen to when it comes to a preacher, right? Well, it's just, I don't know, people. So it just makes me think of my grandmother, like, just go away from me. It just makes me think of my grandmother. Stick to yourself. Just mind your own. Don't worry about what's going on out there. You never change it, right? Right? She was a chambermaid in a hospital. She's seen a lot of shit, people. Okay? Being a chambermaid, going from bed to bed to bed to bed. And she knew. She knew. Okay, so I'm really not having a very good day today, okay? Anyway, I put this here to start little lettuce plants or something, right? And then we've got this one, and we'll put 2 tomato plants there. I'm probably going to grab a couple of the smaller tomato plants from the greenhouse, try and transplant them into a slightly bigger pot, put them there, and then maybe one more tomato plant. I don't know, because it goes, look. See, you have different lights, right? And then just hold on a minute. Okay, so my son brought 3 in. Apparently one already has tomatoes. Now, tomatoes can self-pollinate, but they need wind. So, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. I have a little fan that maybe I'll run once in a blue moon or something, or once in a while, just to move the air around. So I go put it right there, right? And just turn on the fan and or whatever, right? I might have to hang another hook, right? Because, you know, I want to put a couple of smaller tomato plants that are in the greenhouse there after I transplant them. And then we've got, obviously, this. I don't know how much reflects off of this. Let's see. Right, now I could string up another one of those other lights, because I have, right, extra from over there on the rack. Right, so I don't know, smells like tomato plants. Look, there's a tomato. My son was right. Right, so look, there's one. I have to brace them up on sticks though. Hold on. Andre was saying, it smells good. Tell him.
No, it quickly does.
Huh?
It smells like so good.
It does smell so good.
It smells like you can already eat them already.
Yeah, it sure does. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just like ready to pick, but they're not.
No. It should be interesting now. We're going to have to learn what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Oh, I forgot the camera was on. I'm twist tying it up. So, yeah, this is kind of like therapeutic in here. You can, you know, I'm really sensitive to histamines from working in the yard all these years. It's like, I don't know, maybe opening up my chest, I can feel it, right? Because it's so strong, eh? I talk to them every day. You know? My new babies. Maybe they'll make me feel better. Now, prior to this, what I was saying, you know, people like, if I could move into another house, I would be more serious to move out. Because what my landlady does to me almost every month, like, I dread when she comes to pick up rent. I dread it. Because in one breath, she says, oh, I care about you, and therefore it's just better if you get rid of your stuff, you know, downsize, because you're never going to have a place like this again. Just, right? And like, I don't know what she's thinking. How could she possibly say that to me, people? Because doesn't she realize that she's part of the problem with the overinflation of the housing market in terms of rents, and just because they can do it? Because, can you hold on a minute? Because of the corruption, people. They're building buildings that old people aren't moving into because many old people that are being flushed out of their houses are being medically kidnapped through the healthcare system and are being told, namely by an immigrant workforce with the one or two Eleanor Gildings roaming the halls in terms of the senior union staff, that they're not going home, they're too old, it's unsafe, so therefore sell your house and get ready to be put into an old folks home, to which they lock them in. And they make them pay for it, people. So we can't be surprised that place is freaking empty. Okay? It's just a charade. And like, what is my landlady? How could you possibly tell me that you care about me or anyone in my family when you know there's nowhere for me to go with my grandkids in terms of quote unquote affordable housing? And really, ultimately, the only reason you want me to get rid of my stuff is to make it easy for yourself in terms of easier to sell the house or easier to raise the rent once I'm gone. That's it. It has nothing to do about caring for me. Because her behavior in terms of, I don't want to say greed, but that's basically what it is. Oh, but I want to look after my grandkids. I want to make sure I have private care. I want to make sure my grandkids have something when I'm dead. Yeah, well, so do I. But not everybody gets to do that. And at what cost, people? Like, how many lives do you have to ruin just so that you can be loved, because you can buy your way, quote unquote, into heaven, when in fact your religion doesn't even believe in heaven? You live for the moment, and then when you die, you die. So what does it matter whether you leave your grandkids or something or not? Because you've already left it to your kids. Right? It's like she rubs it in my face, people. Why are you guys fighting all the time? Well, I don't know, Mrs. Gill. Let me come into your house, snatch one here, kill one there, lure another one to their death, and then when your grandchild is born, I'll make sure that the doctor purposely goes out of their way to injure the baby just so that I can have backup for organs. And then come up in your face and act like I don't know what's going on, when in fact they know, people. Because it's a system in place. And like every month I dread, but I'm polite. I'm very, like, I was taught to respect the elderly. Right? So I'm polite. Right? But she always hounding me to get rid of my stuff, to make it easy on myself. No, I'm not making it easy on myself. I'm making it where I'm going to move into something where I can't look after my grandkids because I have nothing to look after them with. Never mind even a place to live after I leave this house. Whose fault is that? That what? Progress? The property developer just bringing in prosperity into the neighborhood? Right, that's why you got to bring in all these freaking immigrants into the country, into BC, just to be able to tap into the federal, provincial, municipal subsidies in order to pay whatever it is. And because they're from another country and they're, oh, woe is me, they're going to accept whatever it is that you give them. So if you tell them it's $2,500 for a 2-bedroom, they're going to pay it because they're just going to be happy to be here in Canada. And then they're going to end up, a lot of them, acting like you, just consumed with greed. Because that's what it is, people. That's what it is. It's so depressing. I spent a whole day fixing fucking landlords' fences. One landlord can't stand me, doesn't even know me, just hates trees and wants to get rid of my whole fucking family. Okay? If with an attitude like that, you don't think that he's not wheeling and dealing in the back room selling freaking body parts for as much hate that he has in his heart for people like me? The dude doesn't even know me. Right? You know, it depresses me. Oh, why are you fighting all the time? I don't know, Mrs. Gill. Why do you think we're fighting all the time? I've been asking for over 7 fucking months to fix underneath the bloody sink. And that's just one thing. This door is ready to fall off its freaking hinges because it doesn't even have hinges anymore, people. The window's fucking rattling in there. I've been asking for years. Never gonna happen, though. Because she told me I'm selling the house. I'm not fixing anything. When she came to pick up rent this month, I said, well, can you at least get the freaking guy to come in? Just call me first so I can make a path for him because, you know, the basement was gutted and I'm having to bring, stuff for Amari? Why should I have to go buy new toys, new books, whatever it is, when I already had it? But you see, my son doesn't want me to have it because it infringes on his new relationship. My landlady doesn't want me to have it because, you know, she might feel remorse if she kicks me out and, well, maybe her son. And then they're throwing out children's books and that kind of stuff as if they'd feel any remorse for that because, you know, once I'm gone, out of sight, out of mind. As I killed myself in this fucking yard for what? For what, people? Getting ripped off by homeless people. Right? No? People just taking what they want, waiting for the next batch, asking me if I'm moving out. Right? I had a Muslim woman come over and she just tossing things around and I'm like, I don't speak that language. I said, I'm sorry, I speak English, right? And she in the box and she just with bad attitude, man. Fucking real bad attitude. I guess it wasn't good enough for her, right? Well, why don't you go back to your own fucking country for crying out loud? Seriously. That's how I feel about it, people. They bring death and injury because they don't stand up for anything. They're just thinking about themselves. That's all that's going on. Plotting and scheming. Not all of them, but a whole lot of them, people. And it doesn't matter the ethnic heritage. Because they're all coming in with one thing in mind. To get rich by any means necessary. Because that's where their self-esteem comes from. Oh. And they come in racist. It's an automatic given. I have never felt in all my life in Canada to be among so many damn... You know what? I used to pick on Uncle John all the time when I started working on a nonprofit. And this is honest God truth. I'd be going on about institutional racism and how white privilege was a real problem in society, people. And Uncle John, he'd get all beet red and, oh no, there's not every white person is a bad person. And I'm like, obviously not, John, but we got a serious problem with, institutional racism and white privilege, right? And, right? Right? Well, it's the opposite now. It's the immigrants coming in from all these different countries, hating white people because they're programmed before they even get here to hate us. And then that's how we get injured when we go into the healthcare system, people. That's why we get medically kidnapped and locked up in these old folks' temporary care wards, being plotted and schemed against these elderly to lock them up like dirty secrets, okay, and steal their freaking money and their houses. Because stupid. Well, my landlady comes every month hinting around that I need to get rid of my stuff. Like, whatever. And then tells me that she cares about me and she's just trying to make it easy for me when the time comes. Yeah, okay. If you're trying to make it easy for me, why don't you stand up against your people and tell your people to freaking act like normal human beings and stop being bloody gluttons? How about that? But of course you can't talk to them like that because then you insult them, and then when you insult them, they sick the hounds in on you, right? And then they really go after you. And then the next time you go see a doctor, they'll get you that way. That's what the last 10 years or more have taught me. That's why my family is mad, because they can't talk about it like I can. They just have to internalize it and live with the loss and the injury and the harm as our government covers it up. Uh-huh. Yeah. With their bought-off freaking robot judges. Yeah. So anyway, I figure I'll get up tomorrow morning. I already warned Andre. I gotta get out there early. But Amari hasn't pooed yet, so it's a hit and miss. I'm gonna start with Mr. Lace's cat house. I'm gonna gut it. I'm gonna try and rat-proof it. I'm gonna insulate it a little better. Raccoon-proof it as much as I can. Start picking away at the vinyl siding, getting it on, and then getting in that corner where I want to move those bins for the rocket stove. That's my goal for tomorrow. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think I'm going to have to string in another light in here somehow, some way. Oh, I love this smell. Oh, it smells so nice. Yeah, but I'm so depressed. I'm going to need another stick. This is not going to be good enough. I think so. Unless I'm sorry, people. I just, you know, I guess until it happens to you, half your family killed off, I guess maybe you'll just never really know what I'm talking about. And it goes back to being ignorant is bliss. You know, how would my landlady feel if her son got murdered and there was no justice because every lawyer in this province is a freaking coward? After she discovered that her son's organs were illegally pillaged and he was put on display on a hospital bed for 9 days so that his body could be auctioned off for a science experiment. How would my landlady feel? And then to have your daughter murdered in your house. How would she feel if she went downstairs after thinking everything was fine because she just heard her daughter not even 2 hours ago, and she'd go downstairs and then she finds her daughter dead? And then she, over the next 6 months, discovers what happened in terms of the cover-up around that just so that her body could be pillaged. What would she do if her husband got medically kidnapped and taken away God knows where, and the fuckery that went on with Uncle John happened to her? How would she feel? And then how would she feel if her daughter-in-law had a baby and then came out like a Mari? And then she got her daughter-in-law's medical files and discovered that, you know, there's some real shenanigans going on. And this was all being done by white people. Because she's Punjabi. So do you think that she'd be calling out racism if it was being done by white people against the Punjabis? Damn rights. And as soon as she'd cry out foul, you know what would happen? The Punjabis would come out in the tens of thousands, people. In the tens of thousands, crying on about white racism. And they'd rally against for change. But not when it's the other way around. Instead, well, what? You need to start selling your stuff now. Okay, Mrs. Gill, I just threw out half my fucking basement. I let it go for charity. Okay? And you want me to start putting shit online now? Why? What's the urgency? I'd like to know. Other than you want to benefit from it. Because don't come and tell me that you care about me and my family. What's left of it?
And then say, well, why are you mad? Well, I don't know. Have half your family wiped out. And then come and get stuck with a disabled child. And another child. With nobody to help you. Come ask yourself that. Why you mad? Come on. And these are our teachers. And our doctors. And our lawyers. Because the white people are being wiped out. And the few that are left around are either corrupt to the core with that institutional racism that I used to pick Uncle John apart on, and that white privilege, or they're freaking cowards. Or they're criminals. Oh. Well, I don't know, people. I don't know what's going to happen to my life. I don't have a life. I really don't. Okay, well, I don't think I have to do much more here. Oh, it smells so good. I could just stay here forever. If I need a little lung opening, I'll just come in here and move them around. Oh. I want to make some bread now. And have bread rising. Oh, that would be nice. It's like Mark Andre says, this smells like fresh tomato. Fresh tomato. See? Yeah. And then I just close this like this. Here, let me just, hold on a minute. And you know, they're just going to tear down all these houses. This is why all these property developers are selling at one time. Because they're going to sell it to a property developer that's going to show up at the door and say, you've got 1 year to get out because we're tearing down the house. This is what she's trying to save me from by telling me to get rid of my shit. I don't know where I'm going to go with nothing. I don't know how I'm expected to look after my grandkids with nothing. But in light of what's been happening to my family, it kind of goes par and parcel with what's going on in this province. Right? I don't have to take you into their community to show you what goes on there because I've already done that. So, I don't know. Right. Okay, so what I've done is I brought in a couple more. I think that's all I have, but I'm changing pots, so hold on a minute, I'll show you. Okay, so I got an extra plant potter thing, right? These guys are thirsty, so I'm going to give them some water, just plain old water for now. I'm not going to do nothing. I'm just going to let them adjust for a couple of days in terms of, then I'll start maybe introducing some plant food or something and pick off a few leaves, right? The ones that are yellow down there, I just want to, right now they don't seem too disturbed. They seem actually quite happy. You can tell because they're perky, right? And I'm sure they'll perk up even more. Hold on, I'm going to take a picture of that for BitChute. Hold on. Well, actually, I don't know how to take a picture with this camera, I don't think. This different camera. But they're perky. And then, what I should do, honestly, I'm just moving things. I'm tearing my life apart. I will move this out. And I'll take that, and I'll move it this way so it can pick up on some light. Because I can move this behind that. And I could actually have a different grow light. I have the screw-in kind, right? I actually do have a metal reflector for that. And I could have it shining this way. And then maybe we can start growing lettuce in here or something. right? Or those little peas or whatever. So I'll work on that in the next day or two or whatever, because I do want to go outside and start early tomorrow morning. And then let's just imagine this is running now, because they have to run for quite a long time. So I just hang this up. There, you see? Oops. Not so bad. Pastor Grady wanted this. I told her no, I use it. Oops. There. So when you come in, right, it's not that noticeable. Okay. What do you think?